Erica.
And of course, with all that going on, you know, the fandom, the fame, and everything else, you might make different like mistakes, or you have different regrets. Do you have any like regrets that you made back in the day that you wish you could have changed or you learned from?
Yeah, definitely. You know, I mean, it was 28 years ago, so it was a lot of years ago. So much of it I forget, and I'm glad I have because I've moved on and like, I'm the type that's striving to be in the now. But being a popular group, you have these group dynamics that photographers want me as the lead vocalist and producer of the group. They want me to come to the front. And even if I'm trying to sort of be in the back and blend in with the rest of the group, they're always like, yo, Speech, come to the front. And so I'll do it and we'll do the shoot, but I'm not realizing that to other group members, they're feeling like I'm being some kind of way. They're feeling like, yo, why is it always about Speech? Why not me? And then, so and then it's like, because I write and I produce and I do beats and all of that, if I'm making more money than them, because in the music industry, people that write and produce get more money than sometimes the artists that sing or rap. So it just depends. And so if I'm getting more money than they are, they're looking at me sideways like, yo, why is he, so there's a lot that we're learning in real time. And if I had to do it over again, and if I knew what I know now, I would be more explanatory or whatever and explain like what's going on and try to make everybody understand what's happening and stuff like that.
And did you ever have moments where like, cause sometimes like the labels they try to like split groups up. Did you have a moment where any like behind the scenes they tried to say like we don't need you, we don't really need the group? Have you ever had that moment?
I mean, yeah, there's a lot of meddling that goes on with the label where, they're trying to maximize whoever they think the star power is in the group. And there was that type of meddling. And unfortunately with us, because of our success right off the bat, everybody starts getting basically like cliques or camps. Like the group has 6 members, every member had their own camp, and basically their camp is out to try to maximize how much money they can make and how they can capitalize on this success as much as possible, but sometimes to the injury of the group itself, or you know to the downside of our unity as a group. And so it was buck wild in that sense too.
And did you also get like any like commercial deal offers too? Like since you became so big and stuff like that, did that also become a conflicting of interest in the group as well?
Definitely. And so one of the biggest ones is we got an offer from Coca-Cola to do $1 million commercial. And to paint the picture of that era, hip hop music was very dignified about trying to maintain its integrity. Like we didn't want those that loved hip hop and grew up really passionate about hip hop. We didn't want it to sell out to corporations. We didn't want to just make it something where it's just about getting the bag, as they say today. It was more about making sure that this art, lived and that it was authentic and real. And so I turned it down, and I turned it down by myself. Like I didn't ask the group members, I didn't get advice, I didn't vote. I turned it down because I felt like it was going to, first of all, tarnish the revolutionary spirit of what the group is about. But also, I felt like it was going to be looked at as a sellout, like, so at the time period, MC Hammer had, he had done a commercial deal with, what was it, KFC, I think it was. And he did like, or maybe it was Popeyes or something, but he did like a popcorn shrimp type of commercial. And everybody in hip hop was like crushing him on that. And he made, I'm sure, quite a lot of money on doing it, but it was a lot of pushback on that. And so that's just to give you the atmosphere. I didn't turn ours down just because of MC Hammer, but I think the philosophy was basically, no, we don't want to sell out to corporations. And I wish we all would have stuck to that. I know that a lot of people have made money since then. I get it. I get how the game, as they call hip hop music, has evolved to that. but I personally also see the downsides of corporations running the incentives for this music. It's a huge downside, and I talk about it in one of my documentaries I released called The Nigga Factory. I talk about it in detail. So if people are interested in my views on that, go check out The Nigga Factory on YouTube, and it's by me. So yeah, there's a lot of downsides to it.
Oh, and speaking of that, I was gonna say that towards the end, but let's talk about it right now. Your documentary, The Nigga Factory, I was up watching it and I just like fell in love with just like the entire presentation with that. And
Okay.
I was just so detailed, and each one is about, I would say, less than like 15 minutes, but it's so
Yeah.
detailed and well put together. And I was just wondering, like, what sparked the idea of putting together that documentary, and how long did it take for you to make those series?
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate all the compliments on the Nigga Factor. Yeah, it was a dream of mine since People Every Day record. Because in People Every Day back in '92, I talk about the nigga and the African. And I've always felt like we're not niggas as Black people. I felt like the nigga is something that has been created in us by white supremacists. They've created this concept that we're niggas, that we're violent, that we're, and I understand that we have violence in our community in certain ways, and I get all of that, but I'm saying like this idea that we're niggas and not people, and it's ridiculous to me. So I've always felt like we have been conditioned to behave in certain ways by constant bombardment of imagery that is negative of us,
Mhm.
constant bombardment of what we should act like, how we should be, and these things have taken effect on us over hundreds of years of doing it. And so the Nigga Factory was made to help expose this constant assault on Black people, not just on us, but the assault has also affected everybody else's view on us. So when you go overseas or when you go anywhere, people often only know about Black people from the media that they see about us coming from America. And so if they only see strippers or if they only see, WAP or whatever is the new craze that's coming from us in America, then that's what they believe. They haven't been here. So many of them haven't been here. So they're not going to see the whole community and, oh, this is just a slither of what we represent. There's a whole lot of people that graduate college that are doctors, lawyers, entrepreneurs, you name it, social workers, all types of people that live in our community. You don't see that on our media too much. And so what you tend to see is pimps, hustlers, thugs, gangsters, hoes, strippers, whatever. So that's what you tend to see. And if you could put your mindset to someone living in another country, which we're only a very small percent in the United States of the world, then that's what they believe we are. They haven't been here to see any different. Just like we tend to believe what Africa is if we haven't been to the continent. We tend to think it's all poor and everybody is, got flies on their face and got big bloated stomachs because everybody's starving. It's a ridiculous truth, a ridiculous propaganda tool, but it works and people believe these things.
Wow, and that is so true. And like, the thing is that we've seen that part of you speaking about like being conscious about the Black community in your music, but it's awesome to see that you basically you're putting a documentary to it. So you're basically putting a film to your movement overall. And I seen that you said that you kind of like halted the production on it. Do you know when you're gonna get back to more videos on it?
Yeah, COVID-19 did it. I mean, me and my team, which I have an incredible team, you had hinted to this earlier, like how good the quality is on it and like how professional and at least the way I see it is excellent. We put that together because it wasn't just thrown together. And my team and I, great guys, all Black and Black, what I consider Black excellence. And we put that together, part three, which is going to be the last part of the Nigga Factory series. We put it together prior to COVID, at least draft one. And we couldn't go any further when COVID hit. Everybody had to quarantine. Families, some of our families were affected personally with the virus. Some of the families of my crew. And then also, a lot of things happened. If you remember, during the top of this year, George Floyd was murdered, Breonna Taylor was murdered, people were hunted, Aubrey was hunted by, you know, ex-cops and just killed for no reason, just because he was jogging. So many things happened that the finished or the first draft that I had done, it didn't even seem like it didn't even scratch the surface of what had happened since then. There was it was the biggest protest movement because of George Floyd in the entire planet. People in Brazil were marching, people in London were marching, people in Australia were marching, people of color everywhere, and white people too, who were sympathetic to the realities of this, were marching across the planet. And that wasn't in Nigga Factory 3. So we decided to wait until COVID was over and try to readdress it again, so that it would be more relevant to what has happened since we finished the first draft.
Yeah, I can't wait to be able to see that part 3, because honestly, to me, I feel like it's very needed, and we need more hip hop based artists that can like really reach the community in a big broad spectrum, just coming together and talking about the realities of the things that's going on within the Black community. And I just want to say I appreciate that documentary that you put together, and I look forward to seeing more of that.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Definitely. It's a labor of love. Like, I don't make any money from Nigga Factory. So I just put money in. That's all I do. So I put money in, we create it, and I put it on YouTube for free, and whatever little amounts of money that come in from YouTube, but it's nothing major. And like, it doesn't even begin to pay for the expenses of doing it. DJ